Hi, my name is Sean Cowgill. Welcome back to another video from Club Fed, True Stories. Today I'm going to tell you about a couple jobs I've had at the Adx Supermax in Florence, Colorado. But I lived at the camp, and at the Adx Supermax, the inmates who are inmates in the Supermax never get out of their cell. So who's going to feed them? Who's going to clean the buildings? Who's going to take care of all the work that needs to be done around there? Well, some of the guards do, some of the COs, but the grunt work and the feeding and the cooking, it's all done by the inmates at the camp. So I'm going to tell you about the culinary school that I went to. Here is a real culinary certificate. This one is Career Technical Program Restaurant Management. I also got one for professional cooking. I also got my Serve Safe certification, good for 5 years. So I got out about a year ago. This is good till 3/20/24. So before I tell you all about this culinary academy that they have at the Supermax, please subscribe, hit that notification button, ring the bell, hit the like button, share this on Facebook and Twitter and whatever else. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers. So these videos I make for the guy who might be facing prison. Maybe you've got indicted lately. Maybe your house got raided. Maybe you're already on pretrial. You're awaiting sentencing. You're a non-violent criminal. You could be a drug dealer. Lots of non-violent drug dealers at camps. So if you are on pretrial and you're out on the outside, chances are you're going to a camp or you're going to a low. At a camp, like I always say in these videos, if you're going to a camp and even if you're going to a low, you're not going to get beat up. You don't have to join a gang. The very few politics. Just made a video on that. Hardly any politics. You're not going to be anybody's bitch. You don't have to join a car. Car means race car. The word race. There's a couple little cars at the camp, but those are the guys who work their way down from the top. The Paisas, now that's a car, but they're kind of nice guys. They kind of run the camp. I want to say contraband. It's at a camp. There's no fences. You can imagine what we get in there. Check out some of my other videos. Tell you about the cell phones, the Jack Daniels, the Patron, the cigarettes. By the way, cigarettes are really cheap in a camp. At a camp, we don't use stamps for money like the mediums and the penitentiaries. We use tuna in a bag. This tuna costs $1.45 on the commissary. You can get a Marlboro cigarette for this. Sometimes it's going to cost you $2, depending the prices go up and down. I've seen a pack of Marlboro go for $20, all the way up to about $80. One time there was a big drought because there was a lockdown. They found 70 cell phones in the Texas TV room. There's like 16 chairs in every TV room. Every chair, 3 or 4 cell phones underneath it. The guys are hiding it in there. And one of the RDAP drug counselors moved her chair one day. She had a group going on. And she was reaching under. What the hell is this? And she pulls out a cell phone. After she still looks under the chair, there's 2 more. Then she looked under another chair, They found 70 cell phones. They kind of shut the camp down for a couple weeks. But the prices of cigarettes went way up, man. So, yeah, that went way up. It was $100 for a pack then. It lasted a couple weeks. Things got back to normal. But yeah, we got lots of stuff in the camp. But I'm here to talk about the culinary program. So, there's some programs at the camps. If you go to a low, so my camp had about 450 people on the average. It held 500. We always had extra beds. We weren't overcrowded ever. The lows could have 1,000 people, maybe more. The mediums, 2,000. The penitentiaries, I think about the same. So your lows and your mediums are going to have a lot more programs because they got a lot more inmates and they got a lot more money. But we did have a culinary program. It's a real culinary program. It takes 900 hours to get your restaurant certificate and your restaurant management certificate. So there's a college nearby called Pueblo Community College, because I was in Florence. I was in Florence, Colorado, and so there's a few programs that the college comes out to do. Another one is solar power. They were working on a welding program. There's a dog training program. I think the Pueblo Community College has something to do with that. So you might have saw some pictures of me before holding up a puppy. There's lots of dogs walking around the camp. I'm going to do another video on the dog trainer program. Today I'm talking about the Adx Culinary Program. So as a camper, we can go in and out the front door of the prison anytime we want. Even if you don't have a job on the outside, you can go walking around. You can pretty much walk to the road. Maybe not quite to the road, but you can walk up and down the sidewalks. There's warehouses. There's an automotive class in there. There's warehouses. There's all kinds of buildings. You can just walk around. This is outside of the camp. This is not inside the campus. You can walk all over the place. They used to have it where you could walk across the street to the medium and to the penitentiary to the ADX, and it's about a mile maybe to the ADX. But now they have inmates take us in vans. I guess too many campers were just walking everywhere they wanted, so they cracked down on that. So every day when I went to the ADX, at this culinary class, it was 12 guys to get in the class. I had to wait a while to get in there. I waited almost a year to get in this class. There's a waiting list. So I remember when I applied for it. So I guess right before I got there, the Mexican guys, the paisas, not really the paisas, the homeboys. See, we don't really have Serenos and Norteños and Latin Kings and MS-13, and none of those guys are in the camps. Actually, some are, like your first time offender, never been arrested, never been caught, none of his tattoos are on paper, no affiliations are on paper, and he's a Sereno. So maybe he got caught dealing some drugs, crossing state lines or something, and he ends up at a camp because they don't know who he is. And you get a few guys in there like that. And so I guess, and I guess they're a car, but we don't really have cars. So, but there's these little cliques, these groups. So the Mexican guys were kind of running the culinary program. When I say running, so we had an instructor. His name was Mr. Thompson. Real good guy. And he would check with all the guys in his class and say, hey, I got 2 guys that just applied here. Do you guys want them in? Do you guys want them out? Do you guys know who they are? And then these guys would okay the new guys to come and start the class. But they were starting to weed out. There wasn't enough of these Sereno, Paisa, Mexican guys in the camp to really hold it still. So they started letting other people in, like white guys and stuff, and black guys and all that. But I did get approached by this one homeboy when I applied, and he came up and gave me this 3rd degree, we work hard in there and you can't just slack, and we got our thing going, and who are you and all this, and I didn't pay no attention to him. And later on, we got to know each other, we joke around and stuff, but I guess he did it to my other buddy Chris. He also came into the culinary school later, and he approached him, and eventually he left. When I left, it was just, we had Mormons in there, white guys and black guys, and there was no more, nobody was holding the class anymore. So anyways, I get approved to go to this culinary school. So this is my first time going to the Adx Supermax. So there's other guys that work in the food program there. They do, which I did after my culinary class, so that's $900 for that. It's another $300 for the restaurant management course, and another $200 for the serve safe. So that's 1,200 hours I had to put in. This doesn't include weekends, and plus I had RDAP going. That started later. I was a busy guy, so it was about a year for me to finish the culinary program. But other people who work in there feed El Chapo and the Unabomber and the Boston Bomber and the Shoe Bomber, and I worked with them later. That's another video. I talked about it a little bit on another video. But maybe there's 30 guys that work at the ADX, maybe 40 from the camp. And so we wait outside in the parking lot for one of the town drivers, or no, it's not a town driver, it's an inmate driver, but it's an inmate like us who has a van, and all he does is just drive all around and pick people up and from different, from the camp to the medium to the penitentiary, and drops us all off. And so we have to wait maybe 2 or 3 van loads. We have to go in turns. So we all get dropped off outside the back gate of the Adx Supermax. Now, when they're bringing in an inmate or bringing out an inmate, like I was there when, Chapo came in, and when inmates come in and out, usually it's because they're going to the hospital or there's a new inmate coming in. They go through the back gate. So this has 2 sets of fences. It has a guard towers everywhere. And we had to go through, so inside the 2 fences, there's another guard in a booth with a metal detector that we have to walk through. And so we'd all stand outside. 3 or 4 or 5 guards would come out, and they're going to bring us inside of the Adx Supermax. So we all line up. They call our names off. They say, Cowgill, and then I have to go 1864911 here. And they go, okay, come on up. Then they're going to pat search me because they're worried, you can't bring any weapons inside as well as outside. Although, we always had these big, thick culinary cookbooks, big, thick book, right? And so they pat me down, and now I got to go through the metal detector. Well, while we're in the culinary school, we have to bring our books in and out. And they would let us set our books outside on a table. Then we go through the metal detector. Then we pick back up our book and we bring it inside. And I always used to joke about there could be a cell phone inside here, and I could slip it in the Boston Bombers tray, and it could get to him, and all he's got to do is put $50,000, to my people's on the outside. And if the Unabomber wants a cell phone, there's a way to get it to him. Thinking, still got that criminal thoughts, but it never happened. It's not going to happen. It's not my plan. We just used to joke around. The most secure maximum prison in the world. You would not believe how much stuff is stolen out of that every day by inmates. They mainly steal meat and cheese, but guys will steal onions and everything else. I mean, the smallest things is the biggest thing. And we also used to think of ways to escape the Adx Supermax if we were an inmate. So I know 3 ways for an inmate to escape out of the Adx Supermax, but it would take some guards on the inside to help him out with. I don't want no FBI knocking on my door, but it's not escape proof. I'm sorry, but I did have a lot of good memories there, a lot of fun working there. It's a trip. So the first thing I noticed about all the cops, the guards, the COs, whatever you want to call them, a lot of times we call them cops, is how nice they treat you. Now at the camp, they kind of treat you nice. There's some dickheads and some real assholes. Usually the asshole ones they work at the penitentiary in the medium, and every 9 months they got to go work at the camp for 3 months, and then they do 9 months at the penitentiary. And they're kind of hardcore, and they're trying to bust it or everything. But most of the staff at the camp treat you like a human being. But when I got to the Adx Supermax, those guards were extra nice. And I even asked them, why are you so nice to us? And they goes, because we work with you guys every day. And we know you're people and you're campers, and we know you're getting out. And we want to have a pleasant environment here. We know that you're nonviolent, and like I did the crime and I did deserve time. So if you don't know all my videos, I did a 52-month sentence for wire fraud. I did false tax returns for homeless people and tweaker friends and drug addicts, and I got them all a whole bunch of money, and the government came after me. Now I owe the government $1.7 million. I have to pay $100 a month for the rest of my life. If I ever get an inheritance or something, they'll take that. I've been out about a year. I got 2 years to go on probation. They give you 3 years federal probation once you get out. So I did 4 years pre-trial. So the 3 years in the prison, that counts the halfway house time, and now 3 years probation. So it's a 10-year sentence, really. So anyways, back to the culinary school. So when we get, so this is a regular college class. The guy who taught the class was Mr. Thompson. Now, he was a cop with a hotel background. So he worked in hotels a good 10, 15 years of his life. Later on, got a job at the prison, and because he had the hotel background, and after he'd been at the prison a while, as a guard, there was whoever ran the culinary school before him had retired or left. He took the guy's place. Now, this guy was a really good teacher. So the day starts out where we all come in. We had our own little culinary section, our own little school there. We did homework every day. We had to turn in homework. We have desk work. We have education, and we have real cooking. And we'd all group together, and he would tell us, okay, today's menu. Every day he would change the menu, and we had to cook, 5 or 6, 7, 8 different kind of foods. Usually 2 hot entrees, and maybe 4 types of salads, side dishes, homemade soups. We did baking. We did homemade desserts. Everything from scratch, and really good ingredients. So the culinary school has its own little budget. The food they order from the outside, it comes in the trucks. We got really good stuff. We get real steaks. We get real meat. We get really good cheeses. Just the best, like a culinary school should have. So they break it into little stations. So every 2 weeks you change stations. So the first station you got to do is dishwashing. The pots and pans and the dish. You're gonna wash all the other students' dishes. So I had to do that for 2 weeks. Then the other stations are, so there's salad bar, there's soups and sauces, there's veggie prep, there's the baking, the desserts, there's a sous chef, there's a head chef, there's a restaurant manager, there's a guy that what do you call that? Expediter. So you're gonna kind of run everything. There was different stations. There was 10 of them, I believe. Every 2 weeks you change. So we would all get together in the beginning, and he would tell us what the menu is going to be. This is what we're going to make, and we get to work. So the people we feed. So we had a cafeteria, a special cafeteria in the Adx Supermax for all the guards that work at the Supermax. And there's nurses and doctors that work through there, that come through there, and all the guards from the whole complex, from the camp to the medium to the penitentiary to this administration building to the training center. This place is a huge complex. At any given day, you could see 500 employees, federal employees working there. So they were all welcome to come to the culinary school's cafeteria and eat it wasn't for free. They charged them $3. They had a little machine, and they had to slide their guard card through it, and it takes $3 off their paycheck. Now a lot of these guys weren't sliding their card. Anyways, that's on them, but they were supposed to pay for their meal. So we would set up a nice salad bar. Really, we made really good salads. We're talking, your chef salad, your Greek salad. Sometimes we had, salmon, and there was crab on the salad bar sometimes, and spinach salads. Really good. Three to four different types of salads. We did hot entrees. We did everything from homemade corn dogs to homemade Chinese food. I really liked those days when we did the Chinese food, because we do like orange chicken. We would do ginger garlic beef. We did our own chow mein. We made our own fried rice. Real stuff too. And then we did some breakfasts. We did eggs Benedict, and everything. We did French, we did Italian, we did Mexican, we did California cuisine, we did Texas cuisine, we did Louisiana stuff. Every day was different, and the food was always really, really good. One of the other jobs that you got to do for 2 weeks is you have to serve the food at the cafeteria. So it was kind of a buffet, but it wasn't. We had we had your steam tables and that. Now the guards would come through, like I said, from all over the complex to eat their lunch there. We only did lunch. That's all we ever did was lunch. And they would come and we would serve them from the steam table their food. And we had a menu. We had to write a menu up like a real restaurant does. And then we would ask them what they want, and we put it on their plate, and they go around and they eat. And the cafeteria probably held 40 people. So the lunch went from 10:30 till, what was that, 2 o'clock every day. After 2 o'clock, we shut it all down. We break down. I got to know every single employee at the Adx Supermax, even the warden. I know what to tell you. They were all really nice to me, and they were nice to all the other guys too. It just blew my mind how they would talk to you, and they talk to you about sports and the news. And you'd find out, about their kid going to college or their kid breaking their leg, and they got real personal with you. I could not believe. It still blows my mind today, because I know once they get inside and, the Boston Bombers, yelling at them about,